Good evening and welcome to episode 169 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravets. We have a fantastic show today. Did anything happen in the horse racing world today? I mean, I've been busy with school. I started my full-time work again as a high school math teacher. I heard a few things happened in the horse racing world today. I don't know. We might talk about that a little bit as well, but thanks for joining us. Tonight is our main feature. This evening we'll be discussing the Alabama Stakes and Lake Placid Stakes and the late pick 5 Saturday at Saratoga. As unfortunately, if of course we're all big fans of Saratoga, there is only 3 weekends left of the racing season, including this season. Please make sure you subscribe right there on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Also, I'll hit that notification bell so you know when new content will arise. Smash that thumbs up button. We would really appreciate that as well. Of course, on my name tag, you can see my Twitter at HKravets, and on the scroll at the bottom of the screen, hkravetshorse@gmail.com. A few quick things before I bring on my co-host. Of course, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. The Race Day blog, we're going to be talking about that a little because I actually have a few things that are even my co-hosts don't even know that I made some minor, very minor changes and some big updates that I'm going to let everyone know once I bring them on about the blog that I think everyone's going to enjoy. But that, of course, is for sale. It's very inexpensive. And I have a really cool offer coming up on this show here in just a moment. Also, we have a great website. It still says new. It's not quite new anymore, but go to hhhracingpodcast.com for everything you need to know about this fun podcast. And then, of course, our YouTube channel has all the videos. All right, so I teased a few things just now, but I really feel like we need to bring on my co-host and special contributor, Kyle Roscoe, because we got a lot of things to talk about. The first thing I want to say, actually, last thing before I bring them on, I'm flying a bit blind tonight. Silly me, I left a bunch of tech stuff at school. So if the lighting looks different for me, it's because I'm not using my podcast special lights. I'm just using my lights overhead. So if there's a few shadows, I apologize. And then also my iPad that I have usually down here to the right, where I can actually watch the show and see what you guys are seeing. I also don't left at work. So I on my computer on my right, I have my podcast or the podcast going on YouTube, but I can't see it all the time. Anyway, hopefully everything's going to go just fine. Which Pete Visco means I don't. I'm going to have more trouble seeing the comments. Pete, I know he can hear me, so Pete will have to bring up more of the comments tonight on the show because of my screw ups. So I apologize. But anyway, without further ado, let's bring on the people that make this show happen along with myself. From the Saratoga Special, Paul Halloran. From Maryland, Pete Visco. And a special contributor, Kyle Roscoe. Gentlemen, big day in horse racing today. Unfortunately, not necessarily for good reasons.
Yeah,
that's
Paul's on mute.
Muted.
Paul's got the mute button going. We know the show has
Paul.
started because Paul's got the mute button on.
Already,
Okay.
already you're starting.
Balancing a lot of things here.
Paul, let's get the negative out of the way. We're not going to dwell on this, everyone. For watching the show.
Right.
I've been busy with school. I heard stuff and read some things on Twitter and more reliable sources. Paul, I'm going to let you just briefly talk about what happened today with Chad Brown. And we're really not going to comment. There's really no opinions to be had here. I just rather stick to the facts. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, so Chad Brown, who is, everyone realizes, the leading trainer at Saratoga and one of the best trainers in the country, very likely the best turf trainer in the country. Unfortunately, he was arrested Wednesday on a domestic assault charge. Obstruction of breathing was the actual charge. He appeared in Saratoga Springs courthouse today, which I will, when we're done, I'll give you an ironic, coincidental story. I don't want to make light of what's going on, but you will get a charge out of it. Anyway, he did plead innocent. It involves allegedly a exercise rider with whom he was allegedly, formally, romantically involved with. Chad is divorced. He has two daughters. Um, he was
Right.
released on $2,500 cash bail. Predictably, there was no sign of him at Saratoga today, at least anywhere near TV cameras. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. He does have horses on Saturday. Well, he has horses every day, but Saturday being the big stakes day, I mean, he's going to have to show up at some point. Um, so I think, Howard, he probably could use someone in my line of business, my other line of business, which is public relations, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
So, look at very, very serious charges. Anytime you have domestic stuff involving this allegedly assaulting a woman, but balanced with the American justice system of he gets his day in court. So that's what we
Yeah.
know right now. Matt Haggerty had a pretty in-depth story on the DRF that he updated over the course of the day. Again, the charge is a misdemeanor in New York State. There was some talk about additional charges that has not come out to this point. So that's what we know. And if Pete or Kyle heard or saw anything else, they obviously can hop in.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to comment. It's a very serious situation. For people that suggest that we shouldn't say anything on the show, I would respectfully disagree. I mean, it's very newsworthy. We are a horse racing podcast here, so we have to at least mention it. But again, we're not going to give any comments, really in detail, any opinion. I will say that when everything is sorted out, if something, if it's proven to be true, whatnot, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Chad Brown in terms of his career and what happens with his horses. But obviously, all of that, we would all agree, all of that is completely meaningless to the serious nature of what happened. And so we'll just have to follow the story. There's also a completely unrelated story of some grooms that were arrested at Saratoga today. Initially, it was out on Twitter that had something to do with Steve Asmussen. It does not. I repeat, it does not. It just happened to be in the vicinity of the Steve Asmussen barn, but there are two grooms that were, I believe, arrested on some drug charges. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify for people that are not aware that has nothing to do with Steve Asmussen or his employees as well.
Howard, if I could just add
Yeah.
something to that
Yes.
logistically, Steve Asmussen's barn on the Oklahoma side is virtually right behind or in front of the dorm where many of the backstretch workers live. So the fact that if they were arrested, there would be a good chance it would happen near his barn because the dorms where they live are right there.
Sure. Yeah, everything's very. I had, of course, Paul. All you guys know. I was able to go to the backstretch and see clear court. Everything's pretty. There's some pretty confined spaces, Paul. Obviously, in some of the barn areas. So all of that would make sense to me. So anyway, that's what happened. On the negative side of horse racing today, unfortunately. But we'll see how everything goes. Now, guys, I want to bring up what's happening next week on this show. This is very exciting, and this is actually, most of these. Actually, I'm not sure you guys know everything about this. If people wondering, Howard, why are you communicating with your co-host? Listen, I started school last week, full-time work. I obviously communicate a lot with Pete and Paul and Kyle, but sometimes I don't have a chance to talk to them about everything. So let me go ahead and bring up the screen that I have on the side there, just for a few quick announcements, guys, for the fans here. Let me just go full screen. So next week on the HHH Racing Podcast, we're going to have 3 shows. I'm going to have a show tentatively planned for Tuesday night. I don't want to say who it might involve. It's a special show for the Adelphi Racing Club feature, which means it could involve trainers, owners, people that are involved with Adelphi Racing Club. And there's a lot of exciting news going on with Adelphi because they just purchased a few horses at the recent sale to New York Reds, and they have some very exciting offers for people if you want to get into the ownership side of it. So there's some exciting things going on with the Adelphi Racing Club, and we're going to talk about that at least tentatively planned next Tuesday night, the 23rd. Then our big blowout show for Travers Day, which of course is a week from Saturday, will occur on our flagship show. Note the time, everyone, and of course our my co-host and Kyle as well, in case he's be part of the show. It will start half an hour earlier because Andrew Champagne, of course, has a bowling league. as you guys are aware of, and he can't miss that bowling league. So we are going to be on half an hour earlier, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, for our big Travers Day preview show. We are once again going to have Andrew Champagne on, who we all loved. We thought he was excellent. We're very happy to have him back. Great handicapper at Saratoga. That will be our blowout show. Then I am super duper excited to talk about our live show on Travers Day, the handicapping show. This, of course, is on Travers Day. Myself and Matt Miller, the BC champ, will be doing a live show from the Crazy Poor OTB in Villa Park, Illinois. It's a big event. We're going to have a lot of people there. It's very exciting. I think I have, actually, I know I have, let me see here. There we go. Let me see if I can bring this up full screen, go a little bit bigger. And I bring this up not only for people that are, in the Chicago area, but also for anyone else that's interested. You can read about it there. Again, what's happening is myself, Hawthorne, it's sponsored by Hawthorne. They're giving myself and Matt Miller $1,000. And it's basically a podcast school. So we're betting $1,000 for up to 100 people that will be there at the OTB, and we're all going to share in the profits. So let's say we happen to cash for $3,000. You take 3,000 divided by X amount of people that will be there live. Again, you have to be there live at the Club Hawthorne Villa Park in Villa Park, Illinois. But if you were there live, it's a $35 ticket. By the way, that money goes to Hawthorne. That is not something that I charged. I didn't create that $35 charge. It's through Hawthorne. You get appetizers, a free race program, and then betting tips from myself and Matt Miller. And then, of course, we share in the proceeds with everyone else. So it's a really cool thing. Let me bring everyone. So that's happening next week. If you're interested in coming to the live show at the Crazy Poor OTB in Villa Park, you need to contact Hawthorne Racecourse. Go to hawthorneracecourse.com to find out more information and tickets. There is advanced sales. 3:30 to 6:30 Eastern will be the time. And as I bring everyone back, I don't want to put Kyle, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I believe you mentioned, Kyle, that you and perhaps some family members will be there. Is that right?
I will be there. I wouldn't miss it for anything. And yeah, I have a few family members that we're very excited to go with as well. So if please come on out and support, and like I said, and take all of Howard's money because he's sharing in the profits.
Absolutely. Also want to mention to everyone, and I appreciate you guys being patient. Let me do that. How about this? We got some people. I want to show some love here. People showing some swag. This is David Lupo showing he's got the hat and the T-shirt. Kyle Roscoe, are you paying attention? I'm just kidding. Kyle's ordered some stuff. It hasn't come in yet. But how about that, Pete and Paul? Shout out to David Lupo. I got one more. This is from Tom Espinoza, who's got two hoodies. He's got the light blue hoodie. He's got like the brown hoodie. This is from Tom Espinoza. We have some people that are very active. Let me take that down. Let me take this off the screen. Sorry, guys. We got a lot of people showing their swag. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, and then one more shout out Trish Smith as well. She showed her swag on Twitter as well.
And Dennis Cowler. I'm sorry, Dennis, if I mispronounced your name, I apologize. But Dennis Cowler, yep, Trish Smith, all those people. If you got any HHH Racing Podcast swag, go ahead and put it on Twitter or send it to me. We'll put your there you go. Pete, what you got there, Pete?
I got the zip. What is it called? The 3/4 zip in black. Zip. It's very soft and it's got like what is it called? It's got like that soft material on the inside. It's very soft and comfy. My wife has one. She loves it. It's got the little fingers in this thing that she likes. So my wife loves hers, and
beautiful.
We're representing here for sure.
All right. So anyway, and people actually, Trish was wondering. My math classes are going well. Thanks, Foul Plates. The how to handicap a pick 5 is tomorrow. That's on my. No, I'm just kidding. Can't really talk about gambling in a public high school. But anyway, Dave Barisa. Dave, thanks for joining the show. By the way, Dave, I love your insignia there, like sort of the baseball sort of background. I like that. Pete, keep doing that with the comments once in a while. Appreciate that. You'll have to do that tonight, Pete. Sorry.
Oh, this hat will be worn on the backstretch next Friday morning on Travers.
Perfect.
I'll have you know.
Perfect. And I got my polo. And Kyle, you got some stuff coming, so people don't think that are watching don't think you're purposely didn't buy anything.
Yep, I'm purposely distancing myself. No, I
what you got, Kyle, coming?
I got a T-shirt and a hat coming this way. So,
and everything, by the way, everything should be coming very soon if you haven't received it. Last thing I will say, a few people, Pete asked, like, when are we gonna have another drop? Well, we'll have another drop. We can open the store again. I can open the store anytime. Maybe we'll do it in the fall for like Breeders' Cup time. We'll open up the store again, guys. So we'll see. All right, before we get to the handicapping the pick 5, there's one other thing I'd like to discuss that I teased with you guys. I'm just looking through my own stuff here, make sure I covered everything I wanted to. Yeah. Let's bring this up on screen right now, and Paul will be back, I'm sure. So the three of us, very quick discussion, guys. The Travers is, of course, a week from this Saturday. There are some, probable fields that are out. We pretty much know that who's going to be in the Travers. Of course, our big show will be a week from Thursday, the Travers Day blowout. Let me go ahead and go full screen here for a minute, guys, and then I will bring everyone back. This is the tentative field for the Travers. You got 8 Life Grand, Arturius, Cyberknife, Charge It, Epicenter, Early Voting, Gilded Age, Rich Strike, who, by the way, Paul, I heard is training up a storm.
Unbelievable.
Skippy, Long Stocking, and Zandon. I'm going to leave this list up. Pete, I'm going to go to you first. You've been very patient here tonight. Pete, here's my question. Now, I told my co-host and Kyle that we were going to talk a little bit, but I didn't actually tell them which questions I was going to ask them. So now they can feel like a guest for a minute. First question for you, Pete. Who will be the second choice in the Travers based on this field?
I would have to imagine Charge It just because of the last running line. People like that. I assume either the morning line is going to like that because they assume that that's what the public is going to drift to. Plus, I think everyone else, there's questions about the rest. I mean, maybe Cyberknife is sort of trending upwards, so could be there. And Artorias is kind of hot, maybe the hot horse. But I think Charge It off that dominating performance will most likely be the second choice. But I think it'll be close. I think there should be a couple probably within a couple points of each other.
And my second question, Paul and Kyle, I'd like you guys to answer these two questions also. My other question, Pete, is Epicenter will be the favorite. Your guess as to his post-time odds.
Oh, go ahead, Paul. You like the odds?
Oh, you're going to skip
7
that,
to
Pete?
5. 7 to 5.
Yeah, I was gonna go a little higher. I was thinking maybe more closer to, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe 8 to 5, 9 to 5. I think early. I think it's because there's enough balance in the field where I feel like the money will spread a little bit because there's ones that, you're gonna like Charger, you're gonna like Cyberknife. People are still gonna ride Zandon. There'll be cheap money on Rich Strike. Early voting was the Preakness winner, so has some name recognition.
He may not go. That'll affect.
Yeah, that's
early
the only.
Voting is not a definite. If early voting doesn't go, then Epicenter is, I think, closer to 1-1. But
okay,
that's to be determined. Nick Feldman says 9 to 5.
That's what
I think we're right in the ballpark, Howard. What is Kyle?
I was definitely going to say 8 to 5 as well, and I thought there's going to be I think I agree with Pete that there's probably going to be at least 4 horses within that 7 to 2, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 range that can get bet down as well.
Paul, who's second choice? Charge It right now, would you say?
Yeah, which kind of disappoints me because I kind of, for several weeks, have thought he has a pretty good shot, but I think he's going to be undervalued on the board if he is the second choice. I mean, that was a spectacular race. It was also one turn at Belmont Park. And this is a mile and a quarter at Saratoga, different animal. I think Artorias has a puncher's chance. Obviously, the distance should be much less of a concern there. And, I don't know how good the Haskell field was, but Cyberknife's a tough cookie. Cyberknife's a tough cookie. I don't think the mile and a quarter is going to be an issue. He's not going to beat me in my serial horizontal wager. I can tell you
that. Paul, Kyle, did you say you thought second choice would be Kyle?
No, I'm with the rest of the group, but I think Pete noting that Artorias is going to be that hot horse. I think he's going to take a lot more money, and I think he could be that kind of undervalued horse, as Paul was talking about.
Nick agrees with you there.
I was just going to put that
up. Guys, here's my opinion. Let's just assume that early voting is in. I think Epicenter is 6-5. And I think if early voting is out, I think Epicenter could be as low as 4-5. I really do. I just because I think there's a lot of horses that are sort of split up that second choice. Now, the other thing I will say is if early voting is out, guys, Charge It could be lone speed in this race. I mean, we got plenty of time to talk about it, but I mean, just by looking at the horses, and we all know the kind of running styles. I mean, Pete, we got time to talk, but Charge It is going to be a major wire-to-wire threat if early voting is out, wouldn't you think?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I think, the speed didn't come up. There's a lot of off-the-pace horses in this field.
And what about Rich Strike won't be close? Because Paul, I heard Rich Strike is training fantastically.
Lights out.
You want my opinion? I'm the only person in the horse racing world who hopes Rich Strike wins just to stick it to all the haters. And I'm like, I don't even like Rich Strike. I don't care about Rich Strike, but I would just love to see him just run by this field and just have everybody so pissed off for another 3 weeks after that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, listen, we got plenty of time to talk about the Travers. The nice thing that I like here, guys, I'll just finish off the commentary about the Travers at this point by saying, other than Mo Donegal, who of course is injured, I mean, all the major players are there, right? All the horses that have really made major fact. I mean, early voting, we'll see, but I mean, I'm not sure. I hate to say, based on the Jim Dandy, I'm not even sure we could say he's a major player right now, which is hard to say for our Preakness winner. But I mean, all the big players, all those sort of fresh faces, your Arturises, your Cyberknives, your up and coming horses. It's gonna be a great race, Paul. Regardless, it always is.
It really is. It's it's like any other race. There are the years where it's not as strong as others, but this is a pretty good group, and I love it. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I've been to many of them, and God willing, we'll be right back there next Saturday.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get into the pick 5 on Saturday. It's a real nice. You know what? I forgot to do one other thing. Gosh darn! I'll tell you what. Remind me after. I'll do it. I'll even do it in the middle. I have an offer on the blog. I totally forgot about that. Remind me, guys, after race 8. We'll do 2 races. We'll take a 1-minute quick little timeout from the handicapping and talk about something special that we have going on in the blog that I want to tell everyone out. All right. Let me get the banner up here. The pick 5 starts in race 7 on Saturday. It starts at approximately 3:52 Eastern Standard Time with a loaded, looks to me, a very loaded baby race for 2-year-olds. They're going 6.5 on the dirt as I go ahead and bring the field up of 8. And I'm also going to bring my picks up. Here come the picks. There they are. We're going to have some good debates tonight, guys, because based on the picks I saw. The morning line favorite, and I handicapped all these races, guys, without the morning lines. I don't know how many of you did, but I did not see one morning line before I handicapped. And you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to make an announcement. I'm curious to hear what your opinion, people's opinions in the comments. After the 7 Wonders score last week at Del Mar, which I hope people watch the show because I will say proudly and a bit selfishly, my Del Mar picks on the blog were absolutely on fire last week. So I gotta give myself a little bit of props when it happens because this is a very tough game. And Dylan Donnelly also had that horse at 20-1. Guys, I'm gonna start handicapping without morning lines like for about a month. I'm just gonna curious to see what happens. I handicap without morning lines a lot for this show for our Thursday night shows. Pete, am I crazy? Could that be a bad idea? I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
No, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I think the only thing you have to do is you sort of make the adjustments maybe to your tickets after. So when you put one thing I like to do is I like to handicap without the odds. But then if I look at and this actually happened today, but I didn't get a chance to adjust it too much from time perspective. But sometimes you look at it and go, oh man, I went 3 deep in this race and it turned out I had the top 3 choices. And maybe from a ticket construction standpoint, that's not the best idea. But I think otherwise, I just like not being swayed. I don't want to be swayed if a horse is 30-1 and it scares me off, or if he's 9-5. We're going to get into it here. I had the 5 as a single on my ticket that we'll get to later.
I saw.
And then you see, and he was 9-5, and I'm like, okay. I mean, what do you want to do? I'm not going to change my mind. I like the horse, so. I think it's a good idea. I think anything that doesn't sway you from making a snap decision based on just the odds is a good idea.
By the way, did Snap Decision win yesterday in the steeplechase race? That's a real nice horse, Paul. Did he?
Snap Decision carrying 164 pounds.
That's
and
what
what's funny is I didn't know that, and I never used that phrase, so it just must have been karma right there. I don't even know, because that's not a phrase that just flows off my tongue that often.
I feel like I'm all over the place today. I apologize if I'm like just veering left and right. There's also a big Pick 6 carryover tomorrow, I believe, at Saratoga. Correct, guys?
167.
Wow. Okay. Nick, I see your comment. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to try, I just don't want to be influenced by morning lines. And frankly, other than David Aragona, who we've said on the show a million times, is unbelievable. I got to say, I'm not that impressed with I won't mention where, but there's other tracks, guys, that I look at the morning lines, I'm like, what? And so I just don't want that to be influenced. Anyway, Pete, I'll let you talk first. Echo again, 9 to 5 morning line. You got to look at the board, obviously, Pete, right? To start this pick 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing, especially in having the maiden, or not the maiden race. Well, I guess technically it's a maiden race, but having the 2-year-old race as the first leg is always beneficial, because you could sort of see how the board is playing. But and somebody, I forget who mentioned it. Oh, Nick mentioned it, that there's a buzz on the Asmussen horse, and it's a runner. And I've heard that a couple other places. I didn't hear that before I started handicapping, but I do think that one's probably going to take money. I mean, just from you look at the breeding, Gun Runner's been on fire. A lot of what I like to do with the 2-year-olds, especially first-time starters, is there's a few categories in their breeding that you look at. What's their first-time starter percentages, 2-year-old first-time starters, 2-year-olds, and then dirt sprints. And this one's got like 16, 20, 21, 24%. Those are all great. The Dams 2 for 2 with first-time starters. Good in other categories.
You got Pneumatic, who was a really nice horse.
Yes.
Who was maybe better a little longer, but still won as a 2-year-old. Costa Terra was at Alice and some juveniles, and was in the breeds futurity. This is wind chill. I mean, by the way, the horse, Pete, and I'm gonna let let's see, Kyle, I'll have you go next to talk about. Actually, Paul, you're gonna go next to talk about the one. So just be prepared for that, Paul, FYI. But this horse has been, and you see it on the screen there, and I watched the workout videos, guys. This horse outworked Favorite Outlaw, who is a nice older horse who's an allowance, a 3-year-old who is already a winner and has run in some nice allowance races. And guys, I thought that this horse outworked Favorite Outlaw. So this Echo, again, could be any kind. Paul, you like the one. For Chad on the inside, Kravets, Flavian, very well meant, has been working well also.
Yeah, I think this could be the rare case where you might get a little value on Chad and Fred. I think this 5, I agree with everything that's been said, and I don't even think he's going to be 9 to 5. If the buzz keeps going, he may be closer to even money. So, if every once in a while you'll see Chad win a race like this, and you'll say, geez, how did that Chad Brown first-time starter pay $10? So, I'm obviously have the 5 as an A, but I'm going for some value down the road. Flatter is just okay with 2-year-old first-time starters, 11%. The damn sire is Henny Hughes, who was a great sprinter. So I'm going to have the 1 as an A as well.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about the 1 is the rail, which can be tricky, but they are going 6.5, Paul. So actually, I think that helps them a little bit. If they don't break quite perfectly, they have some more time. Kyle, I'll let you talk about the 3 who you have in second. This horse, he's run in the 60s, high 60s. Obviously, very well connected. It's the other Pletcher and Rapoli and St. Elias. I mean, you can do worse with that. The question I have, Kyle, is. Where do you see the upside, and what does he have to run to win this race? I don't think a high 60s is going to get it done here.
No, I like the addition of blinkers on. I think it'll put him a little bit closer within the mix. And like I said, I like him as an underneath, because I have some good stats on the 5 that I want to share in a little bit. But not to rain on Pete's parade or anything. But like I said, I think the experience is going to help him here from a good post. The blinkers on, I hope, gets him a little bit closer, and I feel like he can definitely sneak in underneath above a lot of these guys that have no experience at all.
Go ahead. You said you got something in the 5, Cal. You want to
mention? It's actually set. I just realized it says it in the bottom in the notes there, but
okay.
It's Asmussen, when he runs 2-year-olds for the first time on dirt at Saratoga in the last 5 years, it says it right in the middle of your screen. He's 14 for 54 with a 2.81 ROI.
Yeah.
So that stat alone is a good tip because I also watched the workout videos like you did. That July 18th work out of the gate, working with a horse that ran his first race not so well, but just absolutely blew by that horse out of the gate. So
yeah,
this horse is working super well, and coupled with the stats, I think this horse is going to be really tough in here.
So guys, I got to mention the 6 because I, as you know, I do a lot of homework and I watch a lot of videos. I want to talk about the 6 for Shug, Spinzar. Now, this horse has been working very well. Maybe he wants to go longer. You look at the breeding. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. Fleet of Gold. I mean, Set Sail was actually a nice horse. The workout, one of his more recent workouts, guys, he worked out with a horse called Ohana Honor. Does that name sound familiar to anyone? And if it does, that was one of my price shots on my blog last week. And Ohana Honor finished a very nice second to a extremely good winner. So Spinzar, the 6 for Shug, who usually doesn't win first out, has worked very well with a horse that's already come back for Shug, by the way, and finished a good second. So if Spinzar can maybe get up a little closer to the pace than normal, or maybe the 5 isn't quite what he is, or there's some they mix it up early. I think Spinzar, guys, to me, is sort of the horse that you want maybe coming from behind and closing based on who he's worked and for other reasons. Very quickly for people at home.
Oh wait, Howard, on Spinzar real quick. There's also, if you look back to the breeding tree, you don't have to do it here, but there's multiple first out winners in his tree line. So that hopefully says a lot of precocity maybe out there. So you can check that out if you want as well.
Sure. And the second dam is Fleet Indian, who won 1.7 million.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there you go. I mean, this horse.
I mean, it's big name horses too, so it's not like it's a surprise. But
yeah, probably wants more distance, but I'm interested in him a little bit underneath. Just real quick for everyone, Good News Rocket, the 2, is a half to some nice ones. I'll bring it up here. Sue's Good News is the dam. But a half to, as you can see on the screen there, Tisma's Sue, but is very much distance, as you can see. But then is also a half to Bulletin. You guys remember Bulletin, who was a very fast turf sprinter, and then went to Australia. So this too is really has a lot of interesting breeding. The works were good, but I'm not sure if they were quite that good. But this is a Frank Fletcher, who's related to 10 Strikes, and cost $700,000. And there's one other horse I wanted to mention here. The 8 Classic Legacy is a half to Art Collector, guys. I'll show that to everyone. And there it is. It's a half to Art Collector. So again, you figure the 8 probably wants to go a little bit longer. This was a weird race, Pete, because other than the 5, even though there's some nicely bred horses, it looked like a lot of them want more distance. So that's why I'm sort of heavy on the 5, as you're going to see also later on too.
No, I agree. I think a few of the ones that we talked about, I think the 6, maybe the 7, even the 8, I think few of them look like they would prefer to go long. But I mean, obviously someone has to win, but you don't really know what they're going to prefer. But if they just come out and they're just really good, then you could win from wherever, I think, if you have to, if you're that good.
Yeah. Look at the board. I mean, Bat Flips also has a race under him, but he's got a lot of turf breeding. I didn't love Bat Flip, but I suppose he can win. I don't know. To me, it's either. Again, look at the board. I just have a feeling, Pete, and I had this feeling correctly. And of course, I'm wrong all the time, but I had that feeling about the Monster Baffert last week. I'm drawing a blank now on the name. The 2 that
I forget the name, but that 4, by the way, that 4. If you watch the trip, it looks terrible on paper. The 14 lengths, lose by 45 buyer. Broke terrible, was swung like super wide on the turn. So it was almost like a throwout race. It was almost like a just green and just had everything go wrong. Mm-hmm. So you don't know if this is more going to be indicative of what this horse is. So I think that's one. I thought that odds would be a little bit higher as a nice underneath play. But, the thing I didn't like was that there's a little bit, maybe they're not sure. They put it on the turf a little bit. Maybe they're not sure what to do. But, I think that race, there's some excuses behind it.
I'll end the conversation. We're going to move on. Paul, I think your pick right here, the 1, is going to determine how much I use him. I think he's going to be the major player. If he's like if he's bet, down to like 3-1 against the 5, then I might just go with the 1. I just might go 1-5 as A's. To me, the board's got to tell a lot. Of course, listening to Maggie also, Paul. Maggie should have some nice, or it might be Acacia, I'm not sure, but you got to listen to what these horses in the Prattle, because I'll tell you a lot also, Paul, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think how the 5 is bet is going to really determine how the 1 is bet to some degree. I
Absolutely.
think if the 5 is closer to even money, then the 1 may drift up. So the 1 might not be that cold on the board, so to speak, if the 5 is really, really bet.
Yeah. Let's move on to Lake Placid, guys. This is race 8. There are 3 stakes on the card on Saturday. This is one of them. It's a grade 2. It's on the turf for the girls. 3-year-old restricted. They're going 1 mile a 16th. $200,000 is the purse. The morning line favorite is a horse that I've been a fan of really all summer. I've bet her the last 2 times. She came through for me last week. The question is, do I like her today? And do our panelists like her today? We're going to find out. The number 1 with the Moonlight for Charles Appleby and Louis Size, who actually, this horse just ran recently. As you can see on the screen, Paul and Kyle are both going with the 1. Pete and I are both going with the 4. Actually, Pete and I are both going 4-3. So, Kyle, I'm going to let you actually talk first. With the Moonlight, like I said, just won last time and is 9-5 morning line. And you just think she's going to win again?
Yeah, I just think she sits the good trip in this race, personally. I think she gets the jump on both consumer spending. Dolce Zell, I think, sits a little bit forward, but I just think the 1 sits a good trip in this race. Again, just a really nice improvement off the last one. Granted, coming back really quickly, but I just think, like I said, I think this is going to be a shape up to be a pace scenario race. I think she sits the good trip on the inside.
Matthew Chimura, thank you. It was a Cave Run? I think it was Cave Run. Okay, maybe that's what Matthew. We're talking about the Baffert horse last week. Thanks for that, Matthew. Did you want to add, Paul, to what Kyle said? Paul, you and Kyle are both going with Moonlight. I know you stepped out for a second. She was very good last time.
She was. I saw that race. That was the day after the Whitney. Charlie Appleby had a very good weekend. His first trip to Saratoga. They asked about running this horse longer, and I think the Jockey Club Oaks is the next one at Belmont, and he said definitely not. Yes. And as it turns out, he's going to run her shorter. And I was very close on my Caveman to having this horse as a single. The 2 weeks is a little bit of an issue, although it's probably less of an issue with a Euro. And this horse has been here since before that Belmont race. This horse did not travel back to Europe in between. So this horse has been, since probably the beginning of July. It was at Belmont, and they shipped up to Saratoga about 3 weeks, 3 weeks before the Saratoga Oaks. So I think this horse is going to be very difficult to beat. I ended up going too deep on my Caveman, and my other horse was the 3. But I think the 1 is very solid here, and inside on the inner with speed is what you want.
Paul, did you say that Charles Appleby or the Connector said they're not running in that Belmont, the 3rd leg of the New York Triple Series?
With this horse, correct. Yes, he does not, because it's longer than even the 1 mile and 1/8. I think it's probably 1 mile and 3/16 maybe.
I thought that's right up this horse's wheelhouse.
He said right after that race, he was asked about it, and he said he ruled that out.
Huh.
So
I find that
he's a great guy. What a great guy!
Okay.
But I had a chance to talk to him both after the Saratoga Derby. Of course, he won in this race, and just a terrific guy.
Okay. All right, Pete, we got to defend our honor here. Consumer spending is a horse. I got to be honest, Pete, I'll let you talk first. I've been sort of inconsistent on how good this horse is in my own mind, but there are a few things I really like about him personally on Saturday. Obviously, you like it, or her, excuse me. You like her too.
I do, and I have some of the. I mean, anytime you're taking it off the pace horse, you have a little bit of concern, especially in this race, because it seems to be a little bit devoid of speed. actually like, hard pressing speed. I mean, there's some horses that I think can go to the top. So this one I feel like needs a little bit of pace to run into. So that would be my only concern. The one thing I do like, I like the cutback to 1.16 miles. This horse seems to just run better going just a little bit shorter. Has 2 nice races at Saratoga, albeit they were, maiden races in the first 2 races of her life, but still I think she likes the track. She likes the distance. And I think as long as she can get a little bit of pace up front, I think she's got a good shot. She was coming. You're probably just the one you're going to show.
I just wanted to, I want people to know what they're looking at here. So With the Moonlight is the 4 right here. This is the last time they met. And Consumer Spending is the 5 right here. This is a much longer race. Go ahead if you want to walk through the stretch here, Pete.
No, and I thought if you look at this, you see With the Moonlight had a pretty solid trip here. I think I had With the Moonlight that day, so I was a little disappointed because I didn't have McCulloch. I was a little disappointed when McCulloch went by, and then you could see Consumer Spending in the Kravets colors there, sort of splitting horses, didn't get as clean of a trip as maybe the other 2 did, and is still flying late and is actually almost on With the Moonlight there at the end with a much more difficult trip. So I sort of like that. But again, she's probably going to be at the mercy of at least a little bit of pace because, like Kyle said, I think With the Moonlight and even Dolce Zell would get the jump on her most likely.
Well, I thought, again, this is similar. Again, I people can, go with my picks or not. That's fine. I'm totally cool with it. But if you back up, this reminds me a little bit. Let me pause it. And again, right here is Consumer Spending. And I'm going to put you guys on screen. Tell me if you agree with this or not. This reminds me a little bit of the 7 Wonders last week because if you have this horse, you don't want this horse to hit to her flank. If this horse is not on her flank, she angles out and gets a much clearer run. Paul, to me, it looks like a fine trip, but when you have a horse right to your outside, you can see she's going left-handed. She just can't get to the outside and is forced to go back to the end. Paul, am I overestimating that? Or do you think that's actually a factor here?
No, I'd say it's a factor. I mean, With the Moonlight came back and ran huge off of this race. So you'd have to think that Consumer Spending has an opportunity to come back off that race and run very good. McCulloch, it was another Chad Brown. That's a very good horse. So, I don't think it was a bad trip, but I don't think it was an ideal trip, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say bad trip. I just think she could have finished even better, I guess is what I'm saying. Before I give my full-blown opinion, let's go to you, Paul, and let's talk about the Lake George very briefly. A lot of horses are coming out of that race. I'm going to show the stretch run. This was the weekend that I was actually at Saratoga, and I had the pleasure of being on with Seth Merrow on the Capital OTB, and I talked about this race. Frankly, I was wrong on this race. I thought Qual Princess was going to be right off the layoff. She quite wasn't there. The top 3 choices here are coming back in the race. So watch the 4, 5, and 6. We'll talk about the stretch run. If you want to talk about anything, Paul, feel free. Let me freeze it here. Let me get the numbers here. The winner is Dolce Zell, who got a very nice ground-saving trip here on the inside. Eminent Victor is right here. And by the way, Eminent Victor didn't get the best of starts, which we're not going to see. And then Qual Princess is the 4. Paul, go ahead. This is the end of the Lake George here.
Yeah, I want no part of the 5, who's also the 5 this race. He did there, he was going to go between, but then all of a sudden he said, oh, the rail's wide open again. He dug in. Definitely, she dug in, but she's going to beat me in this race. I don't like that horse in this race at all.
Really? Is it because she just saved ground so much? You just don't think she?
Yeah, I just think she got a great trip, and okay. I think that honestly, I think the Oaks was a better race. The Belmont Oaks, I think, in the Saratoga Oaks for that matter.
Okay, I'm going to give my opinion on the one, and then we're going to move on, guys. I haven't really said much. When you look at my picks, everyone, you're like, Howard, did I make a typo? No. Here's the thing. Obviously, With the Moonlight can win. Okay, obviously, and I'm using her underneath, guys. This turnback is weird. Now, Charles Appleby knows horses better than I do, but didn't you guys find that strange? I mean, this horse wants to go long, it looks like. I think she's better long. And here's the thing. In my opinion, guys, Consumer Spending, Dolce Zell, they have a quicker turn of foot. With the Moonlight, and you guys are all visual players, but I know Pete, you watch a lot of videos like replays like me. Doesn't it feel, Pete, like With the Moonlight's more like a grindy type? Like I don't know Pete if she can like get in and out of spots if she needs to, and she's got the rail and it's gonna be a quicker pace, and she's coming back quickly. There's just I don't know, Pete. There's a lot of things I'm not sure about this horse that I'm gonna let her beat me at 8-5. That's just my thought.
No, I mean I could see that. I mean I think though I do think she can maybe get the trip just because there's not a ton of outside that are going to maybe pass her because there's not a lot of speed. But
Okay.
I agree with you. She doesn't explode off the.
No,
she doesn't explode for her win. She grinds, but I mean she's pretty good at it. But I think if you you said if consumer spending. If someone like Consumer Spending or even Eminent Victor can get a cleaner trip, then I do think they have the kick late to overtake that. And I think that's what Consumer Spending was almost doing in that last race. So I agree with you.
In a weird way, I'll move on to the next race. I almost like Qual Princess better than With the Moonlight on Saturday because Qual Princess has bigger upside in theory. It's only her second start, and she's going to be like 4 times the price. So I'm going to use With the Moonlight. I don't want to suggest to the viewers at home I'm going to toss this one, but I don't know, guys. I just there's something about With the Moonlight that rubs me the wrong way here. Anyway, we'll see. I could be completely wrong. Let's go on to the next race.
You are. Yeah, you are. By the way.
Okay, Kyle. See, Kyle is smart enough not to say that. Although Paul, I love what Paul's got to say. So Paul will have no problem calling me out. I like that. Kyle still knows his place, Paul. So he's keeping quiet back there. Although he is the owner of how many horses won for you this week, Kyle, as a partial owner of
2. That's
two.
It, Kyle. Good man.
Back to back
Kyle.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's go on to race 9 here.
Hey Howard, did you want to do the little?
Oh yeah,
thing?
thank you. See,
Actually, I'm gonna step away a sec. My puppy's upstairs going nuts, and nobody else is here, so I'm gonna go grab her while you talk about the blog really quickly.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for my. Okay, so guys, here's what we're doing with the blog. I need everyone at home, whether you're watching live or if, of course, you listen to this. I will read what it says on the screen here. I'm doing something special here for the blog. If you do not subscribe to the Race Day blog right now, if you go ahead and subscribe to the Race Day blog by noon Eastern this Saturday, again, if you are not a subscriber of the Race Day blog, which is very inexpensive, it's on Patreon. Look below the video player for information. Patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. If you subscribe to the Race Day blog by noon Eastern this Saturday, I will give you 2 free weeks of the Race Day blog. And why should that interest you? Because this weekend I'm doing something special that I've never done before. I'm going to have a preview of a huge day at Woodbine on Sunday. It's the Queen's Plate. They've got 3 or 4 major stakes, including, like I said, the Queen's Plate, which is basically the Canadian Kentucky Derby. I'm going to do a preview video on YouTube, but it's not going to be for the general public. It's only going to be for people who subscribe to the Race Day blog. So you will get that. And then, of course, you also will get for free next weekend's blog, which will have a special blowout full card coverage of the Travers Stakes day card. So, again, if go ahead and subscribe to that Race Day blog, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get 2 free weeks. I will refund your money in September. You will get, Pete, I don't know if you heard that, but I'm going to do a preview video for Woodbine, and it's only going to go on the blog. So only you have to be a part of the blog to see that video. And the races are Sunday, by the way, at Woodbine. And then they're also going to get the Travers Day card the following week blog for free if they go ahead and subscribe by this Saturday noon. So please make sure. And by the way, I also want to publicly thank Pete Visco, who does the stats also for the blog. Pete, you've been doing a great job with that. Greatly appreciate that. All right, guys, let's go ahead into race 9 as I go ahead and switch some banners here, switch that, bring this up here, and here we go. Race 9, third leg, the Smart and Fancy Stakes. It's a turf sprint, 5.5 for the girls. You see it's a field of 9. There it is, 9, with a soft morning line favorite of the 1 Change of Control for Michelle Lovell and CJ Hernandez. Paul, let's start with you here. You and Pete this time are going with the same horse. You guys are going with the 6, Miss J. McKay for Clement and Irad, and I have a small feeling as to why you like this horse. It's probably the same reason I like this horse. I have her in second. Paul, what does he like about Miss J. McKay?
Well, I think, Robin Sparkles, if you saw the Caress and she's back in this race, that race was just stolen on the front end. There's really, I'm looking for her in this race. She was 21-1, just went to the lead. And,
well, we got to watch the replay because Miss J. McKay, this is a replay special, right?
Yeah, and Miss J. McKay, anyone really, Howard, in that race coming from way behind was at a disadvantage, and she only missed by three parts of a length, I think, and was really.
She's the 2. I mean, Paul, this horse had a lot of trouble. I don't know if you had a chance to see the replay, Paul, but 1,
yeah,
2,
she
6,
did.
7. Yeah, 1, 2, 6, 7 is who you want to watch here.
What happens in the stretch? The 6 just kind of is pretty much clear all the way, and now the 2 is way wide.
Yeah,
he's about 8 wide here, trying to make up ground, and I give the 6 credit. The 6, that was a good ride, and the race was there for the stealing. But I just think horses that get away with that are tough, in my opinion, tough to play back. And you see, there's 3 horses. Yeah,
there's the 7 in between, and the 1 Caravel is back here. But I don't know if everyone. Let me just go back again. I'm sure people saw that there was a major study. Actually, it was right before this.
Well, I would too. And odds wise, she was 21-1 last time. She's 6-1 morning line this time. Yeah. So gotta. That's the old miss the wedding and be there for the funeral with this horse.
Pete, any final thoughts for you on Miss J. McKay, who you have on top, and then please talk about Too Sexy for Clement also, right? Yeah, he's got 2 in here.
Yeah, no, I mostly everything that Paul said, and it's one of those. Okay. It's definitely a trip. Miss J. McKay is definitely one of those trip run backs where you see that bad of a trip and a horse that's still closing, and also has races in the past that can beat this field. So it's not like it can't win under other circumstances. And then, yeah, Too Sexy with Clement. I like Rosario. Anytime you can get Rosario in, somebody mentioned that. I think here. Joey, this one's easy. Find Rosario on a turf sprint and single. I kind of like that. I like that it was off the debut, and it wasn't the best of races, but also it was a slow break. Was a little bit wide. Didn't get the best of trips, but definitely if you look back at last year, I mean, you see it's got that 97-3 back. It just has races that can beat this field. So if it can get back to that form off the long layoff, then I think. And I had a stat where Clement and Rosario were 30% wins, 53 in the money, and turf stakes at Saratoga. So having Rosario back on this horse is a plus, I think. And I think this one I think the board is going to be, I think this one could float up a little bit, and potentially this could be a nice price to have on there.
A few quick things, and then Kyle, I'm going to let you talk about the 1. People need to follow me on Twitter because as I've said on the show, somewhat discreetly, but I've got a little intel with the Clement barn, and I'm going to try to find out for everyone on Saturday before the races how they feel about the 5 and the 6. So that's number 1. Number 2.
Well, they have 3 in there. Howard, don't forget to ask about the 8 because they have the 8 as well.
We'll do. Thank you, Paul, for that. And by the way, this is very tentative. I don't want to hold his feet to the fire in case he hears that I mentioned this. Very tentatively, we're hoping to get Miguel Clement on Tuesday Night Live, by the way. We'll be hoping to get him on as our guest. Of course, son of Christoph, an assistant trainer, does an amazing job. So I'm married to Acacia, Courtney Clement, of course. So we're hoping to get Miguel Clement on next Tuesday night, guys, which would be pretty cool. So I just want to mention that as well. Kyle, this time you and I, sir, are thinking alike. Change of Control. Really nice filly. As honest as they come for CJ Hernandez, who knows the horse.
Yeah, and for better or for worse, as we always say, right, Howard? But coming out of the last few races, Casa Creed and the Jaipur ran by everyone. Didn't run by my horse in that race. My horse was a little bit farther back. But last 3 races for this horse he's definitely win this race. I think this horse again is that's one horse where he lets everyone go by. He sits the trip in the pocket. If he can get the trip and swing tip out, I did it too.
We gotta. I'll speak for everyone. We apologize on behalf of the HHH. We need to work on making sure we call the horse the correct sex. Go ahead, Kyle. I gotta correct it though.
The cardinal sin. You're right. But if she runs her race and right behind these horses and gets the trip to tip out, I believe this horse is definitely very dangerous and is very capable of winning this race, if not by a few lengths.
Kyle, I sort of feel like she's the class this race. That's my feeling. Now, everyone knows on this show, if you don't, you haven't been paying attention, my affinity for turf sprints, or shall I say, Paul, my lack of affinity for turf sprints. I'm spreading here, everyone, but I do think the one is the best horse, Kyle. And if somehow CJ Hernandez can get the trip, I think she is the most likely winner. I've got the 6 in second, as everyone can see on the bottom of the screen. That trip, the problem, Pete and Paul and Kyle, is everyone saw that trip, right? So, she could be the favorite. In fact, I think she might be the favorite. Wouldn't shock me.
I was surprised she was 4-1 off that trip because I thought the same thing you did. Everybody was on that as a bad trip. So I'm with you. I was surprised at the morning line.
It's Madacat. It's right. Blah blah blah. It's just Everyone saw that trip, and I just want to mention the 7, who we haven't really mentioned yet. Illegal Smile. This horse is very capable too. Has a lot of speed. Wesley Ward. There's just a lot. This is a spread race, right? Pete, would you agree with that?
I do. I've spread. I spread for sure. I forget how many deep, but I think I went about 5 or so.
All right, Paul, spread for you also. We'll get to your ticket later, but
yes, I was 3 or 4. Yes.
Okay. All right, and Kyle, you're spreading also, I think, aren't you? If I recall.
No comment.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the big one, guys, or what most people would tout would be the big one. As I go ahead and show the picks on the screen, and I don't know how long we need to talk about this race because if everyone, of course, you see the picks on the screen, we're all sort of going with the Captain Obvious here. It's the Alabama. It's the Grade 1. They're going 1.25 miles. That's very important to understand. This Alabama, which is basically the it's the Travers version for the 3-year-old fillies for the summer. It's the Midsummer Derby for the fillies. They're going 1.25 miles on the dirt, $600,000. We see a lot of the usual players here. Guys, this morning line completely blew me away. I mean, I could not believe this morning line. And I'm not saying David Aragona is wrong. Wow. Nest 1-2 for Todd Pletcher and Irad. Paul, I'll have you go first. That seems.
What would you have made her?
Yeah.
3-5, 4-5.
I think if she were in the Travers, she'd be like 7-2. Let alone with this group.
Really? 7-2.
Look at the big question when you run 3-year-olds or anyone for that matter at 1.25 miles is the distance, right? Well,
okay.
That question's been answered. Well, it does, but it's not. Put it this way, it's a question with everyone except her, because she did a pretty good job at 1.5 miles against the boys. Look, it's Saratoga and anything can happen, but and I think Secret Oath is a nice horse. I'm not so sure if she's maybe going the other way, but would I be shocked if Secret Oath won? No. Would I be shocked if anyone else won? I mean, I guess Jerry Mander could be up and coming, but again, first time around 2 turns is going to be 1.25 miles at Saratoga. I don't know. I think this horse is as close to a stone cold lock as you can get.
I was more shocked that, I don't know if you were talking about this too, Howard. I was more shocked that Jerry Mander was the second choice, just on name recognition. You figure Secret Oath would be the second choice.
Yeah, I knew that I knew one of you guys would bring that up because you're all sharp handicappers. That surprised me too. But people love the win by 3, and
they like the
Secret
win.
Oath seems like guys, I was there and I singled Secret Oath stupidly like I'm an effing idiot that day. But really, and I was completely wrong a month ago. But I mean, Nest was even money basically, and Secret Oath was 6-5 if you recall that race. I mean. So I guess the question, Pete, is Secret Oath regressing Is that just a one-off? I mean, if you eliminate the last race that they ran, which I know what you're going to say, you can't do that. Well, let's just
No, I do that.
let's
Yeah,
just toss
sometimes.
that race out. Why can't Secret Oath win this race, and why should Nest be 1-2? But because of one race now, we're saying? Is that? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think with Secret Oath, the thing that I would, if I wanted to bet Secret Oath, what I would hang my hat on is Secret Oath isn't the type of horse that'll be sitting a half length off. You're looking at the time form there, 145, 146. That's not Secret Oath's game. Secret Oath's game is more of a sit a little further back and then make that one run. So I think if you looked at it and said, well, maybe she was just compromised because it was a short field. She was doing something. She knew she had to stay close. Saez knew that he had to keep her close. And she was doing something that she just naturally wouldn't do. And in this race, there is, I mean, without looking at let me look at the pace ratings again. I mean, you have Nest is the fastest by time form, but I don't think Nest is like a guarantee need the lead. I think just inherited the lead in the last one because she's so good. She could do it. And there wasn't a lot of speed, I think, in that race, if I recall correctly. So, no, I don't think go ahead.
Well, I was saying Nest actually outbroke Secret Oath in that race, which people were sort of surprised by. We're not going to watch the start. And then Secret Oath, I was right on the rails. Secret Oath sort of rushed up and just never looked comfortable at any point. Pete, I think you make an excellent point. I think Secret Oath is taking back a little bit in this race. I'm going to try to come from behind. So I don't know. I mean, Paul, I'm sure you're going to be right. I mean, Nest is going to win. I have her on top too. Paul, is this Nest is a lone A and no one else as a C, like just stone cold single and move on, Paul, in your ABC?
No, I'll use Gerrymander and Secret Oath as C's, just in case.
Okay. Kyle, let's talk about Gerrymander. You've got second. I've got second. I'm a little higher on Gerrymander than I think. Well, Pete, what would you do in your ABC real quick?
I'd probably just go Nest. I think I would just go Nest and take the shot because not that I don't think she can lose, but at some point you just take a stand and just try and push the value to one of the other races, which I think are a lot tougher.
And no C's at all for you, Pete?
Nah, I'm more of an AB guy anyway. I don't really do the C's as much.
Okay, Pete, as I talked to Kyle, if you want to bring us some comments, Pete, whatever you feel
I will.
necessary. There are a lot of comments that we haven't. I feel like we're disrespecting our audience a little bit tonight. Kyle, I don't know how strong you feel about Gerrymander. I'll let you talk about Gerrymander first. She has not gone around 2 turns because, of course, that mile 16, the Belmont is 1. But, boy, she looked really good. I know it was a small field. She got a 98 buyer, which absolutely fits in this race. How good is she, Kyle? And can she actually win this race?
I mean, it's just, again, it brings out that pace scenario. Personally, I just don't. I know she's keen, and people are talking about she's keen running with. I don't even think she can run with Nest. I mean, just that last race alone, both mile and ace at Saratoga. Granted, she's keen was in a main special weight on the lead, but a half mile to 50-4 almost, and Nest ran it in 47-2. I mean, I know people are looking to her to try and get to Nest on the lead because I just think Nest is going to inherit the lead again here personally. Really? But going back to Jerry, I just don't. I mean, whether she's keen runs with her or not, I just don't think she's keen keeps up with her at all. Gerrymander, I know, can run with her as well, and I think Gerrymander might just sit to her inside. I just think Nest sits that outside trip, even if Gerrymander gets with her. I just think Nest sits that outside trip, runs by her. But Gerrymander, like I said, I know the 2 turns is the question here for this horse, but the last race she ran that 1 turn. She did it well. She beat some really nice horses in both Shahama and Juju's map. I mean, like I said, all the signs are pointing up for this horse, but I'm going to take her definitely underneath. I just think Nest is too good in this one.
I don't know if you guys saw, but Gerrymander is a half to a pretty interesting horse. Do you guys see? How about Lone Rock? Yeah, how about Lone Rock?
I would like some distance.
Marathon distance. Guys, here's my feeling about this race. Nest is obviously the horse to beat. I'm not saying anything interesting. Nick Feldman, you are the man, because here's what I think is going to happen, guys. If I were Chad and Rosario and Kravets, I would say just go. Just go. Let Nest take back if she wants a little bit. I think Cinderella is taking back. And you know what? Just be aggressive and try to wire the field. I think Gerrymander is very dangerous here, guys. As of now, I'm using Nest as an A. I've got Gerrymander as a B. I really think she can upset this field. And I got Secret Oath as a C. I'm a little bit off the Secret Oath bandwagon. Pete, I think if you can beat Ness, which maybe you can't, but if you can, if Ness loses, I want to be alive in the pick 5. I guess what I'm trying to say. So that's why I'm using Gerrymander as a B. That's going to cost me more money, though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make that call. I mean, it's a risk. You can't. Sometimes, though, you have to risk the money and not worry about losing sometimes, where you just have to make the call. But I mean, there's no argument. I think it's a good argument. I just think the good thing with Nest is a Nest can sit close, so she's not going to be necessarily pace compromised, where even if Gerrymander gets on the lead, I think Nest can sit close enough and then pounce, as opposed to like Secret Oath. If you're relying on her, where you need some speed up front. She has to get a good trip. She has to get in position, whereas Nest seems to make her own trips. So that's why I'd be a little bit more confident in her. But if she lost, I wouldn't. I mean, she's not the greatest thing that's ever lived. Like, she's not guaranteed to win. But I just think, I think she's better than this field, and it's not the greatest of fields in the world.
Like Paul, you brought up the Belmont. I mean, she ran great, but that Belmont was, I mean, Mo Donegal. I mean, what she got, 95. I don't know. This is gonna be fascinating. If Ness runs off the screen, I'm gonna honestly say I'll be surprised. I really think this is gonna be a horse race. I don't know how. I don't know with whom. I'm guessing Gerrymander. I just think 1-2 is crazy to me. Crazy low. I don't know. We're gonna see. Nick.
This could end up chalky depending on who you like, and then.
Yeah, he is right.
Yeah, I tell you what's gonna happen for me on Saturday. I'm either gonna get really paid in my pick 5 like I should have, because I effed up last weekend when I couldn't spend $30 on 2 C's. How stupid for $7,000.
You didn't need 2 C's.
No. Well, to throw into whatever 1 C, you know what I mean. But I was going to go with the 2, whatever. I want to talk. No one cares. No one wants to hear
you can't explain away stupidity. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You can't.
I mean, I had to get the shit out of it, and then I get cheap. How stupid am I? But anyway, this Saturday, I'm either going to be cashing really big or I'm going to be out early, because With the Moonlight is not going to be an A, and Ness is an A, but I'm using others. Anyway, let's move on to the next. Boy, was I upset at myself last week, guys. Let's move on to the last race, which is a very tough race, race 11. As you can see, I thought this is the toughest race of the sequence, actually, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Although I actually have a strong opinion, even though I think it's a tough race. Mile of 16th. Whoop, let me go here. Sorry, guys. I want to do that. Is this race 11? Okay. Big field, mile of 16th, 35 claimers, 3-year-olds or non-winners of 3 lifetime. I think they're on the inner. You guys can check. I can't recall if they're on the inner or not. Field of 11. Field of 12. Holy crap. With some also eligibles that could get in, and some main track onlys. I think the weather, Paul, is the weather going to be, have you guys heard of, I think the weather's going to be okay this weekend, if I recall.
Yeah, I heard there's no sign of rain until at least Monday is the latest I've heard.
Wow. So things are getting firming up again. Moyline favors the number 7, Aviano, Pletcher, and Irad. Kyle, let's start with you. Kyle, you got 674, and some knucklehead who hosts the show also is 674. So let's just hope that we are right, man. You're going with the New York bred, and I'm embarrassed for Paul that he doesn't have the New York bred on top. I'm very disappointed with Paul that he doesn't have the New York bred on top. But anyway, Saratoga Flash. What does he like about this one, Kyle?
I love the switch from. I mean, I know McCarthy is a great jockey. I love that Castellano's gotten this horse. He's riding hot. This horse is perfectly suited for the mile and the 16th. Just the perfect post. Again, it's just that pace. I just really don't think. Was there that much pace? I can't even remember at this point. But I really don't think.
In this race, not really.
Yeah.
He's got a 104 early time form.
The only one that's higher is the 8, right?
I mean, you look at. No, 79. I thought there was someone else.
The 8 is the 108.
Kyle, my wonder was, would this 6 break, and then would the 8 try and break and pass, or would the 8 sit outside and let the 6 go? I think that's because I like the 6 a little bit too with you. So I just don't know what's going to happen with that pace scenario.
Personally, I thought the 8 was going to outbreak the 6, get in front of him, and I thought the 6 was just going to take to the outside. Is personally what I was thinking.
Yep.
And I think this horse, again, is just going to sit that trip, just that stalking trip right off the speed. And I think he just gets the first jump on everyone. And like I said, Aviano, I mean, he might be 3-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if this horse goes under it. This horse obviously wants shorter than 1.25 miles in his last race, but I don't want to take everyone's thunder. And Pete, I don't want to steal your thunder with you at the 7 on top, but I just think 6 gets the first jump, and I think the switch to Castellano and that good trip, I think, is going to take him to the wire.
Pete, thoughts on Kyle said about the 7, who I have second, you have on top, and Paul actually has nowhere. Interesting.
Well, the 7's sort of funky because it's not often you see a $775,000 purchase that's running in, a little bit higher level allowance races. Now all of a sudden dropping, what are we in, maiden 30? Is that what not maiden 30, claiming 30, claiming 35 is what I meant. Yeah. So it's a little bit suspicious there, but I do think just on form, I mean, even in that last race, it was a dog crap race, but it was going 1.25 miles. I think lost to 2 of the horses who came back and won with 96 buyers. So there was quality in that race, even though
he was wide too. That was just a disaster.
He was wide. Yeah. I don't think it was the best of trips. And then, so I think though, if you go 2 back,
money, Pete too is 5-1. I mean, he took money.
Yeah. In a pretty solid field, if you look at it. And then, Pletcher's okay. He's not great. He's a little bit under in like allowance to claim drops on the turf. But I just thought that this one, it's hard to leave out because even though the drop is suspicious, it's just classier and it's not like it's run badly at those upper levels. I mean, that run 2 back was pretty good. So it just seems like one that should be on the ticket, but this is sort of a spread for me anyway.
Hey, Vale Place, take it easy, buddy. Take it easy. I did have a lot of winners on the blog. So what I'm pissed about is that I just didn't throw some seahorses in the cash for 7,000. But I'm just having fun with you, Vale Place. Listen, I have to be critical of myself if I consider myself a good handicapper and better. So I was right on a lot of things last week. I just should have added some C's, very simply. Although
this was
neither one of those horses looked even possible to me, but it was a 2-year-old filly race. So live and learn, right? I'm sorry, what did Matthew say there?
No, that was a good point too. Is the Churchill turf, which has been a little funny, so it ran its best race, winning. But I think it still has even the race 4 back. I think could beat this field. So I think it still has races that could beat this field.
Paul, I got a question for you, and then Paul, I want you to talk about the 4 because I think the 4 is interesting. My question though, before I talk about the 4 here, is on the 6, Paul. In your expert opinion, is a horse that comes from a state-bred optional 45 N2X, and by the way, he was not in for the claim. For those people who don't know, you see those N's? A lot of people don't know this. I just want to bring it to these dash N's mean they are not in for the tag. Just want to let people know that in case people didn't understand that. Is this a drop down is my big question, Paul, from state-bred optional 45 N2X to open company 35K? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's pretty lateral, Howard, and I think this might have something to do with the condition book, and I don't have it in front of me, obviously, but, there may not have been a state-bred race in those conditions to run them in. This is a Saratoga stable horse. They're all Saratoga people. They like seeing their horses run at Saratoga. So this might be a case of, this is an opportunity to run the horse in this race. That's purely speculation. But as far as the answer to your original question, optional 45 state-bred non-winners are too other than to – I don't know. I think the way the New York program is, you could maybe consider it a slight drop, but nothing, I wouldn't consider it anything appreciable. I think it might have more to do with the connections.
All right,
but
Paul,
the 7, on the other hand, Howard.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like a fire sale, doesn't it? He was in 2 optional claimers. They protected him twice. He ran 3rd and he ran 9th. Yeah, he won. He won a $123,000 race at Churchill 2 races ago, and now all of a sudden they're willing to lose him for 35.
Paul, one thing that I've improved on a lot, and there are certain things in handicapping that I have always felt like I've been pretty good at, to be honest. And there's others that I frankly have not been good at and have learned over the years. one of the things I think I've done a good job over the years in improving is finding these kind of sneaky angles. The 7 is owned by Eclipse Thoroughbreds. I mean, they look to get grade 1s. Like they don't. I'm not saying they don't care about the horse. That sounds disrespectful. But you know what I mean, Paul. They've got other horses they're more interested in. So although it's a fire sale, I don't think it necessarily means the horse can't run. It's just they've got other horses in their barn that they really want to pay more attention to.
Yeah, no, it means that
that's part of it, right?
It means Todd Palencia is going to use the stall for someone else when this horse gets claimed. Well, they paid $775. They were looking for a graded stakes winner.
Yeah. Now the 4 is the same thing, Paul. I need your help. You've got this 4 on top. I've got him 3rd. I have to be honest. I did not know what to do with this horse because this horse feels a little bit like the 7, right? I mean, this is a total fire sale. The horse this is a 3-year-old, right, Paul? A 3-year-old who was staked and you would think has some potential, and they're just completely giving up on this horse for 35. I thought this was even more of a red flag than the 7, but maybe I'm wrong. To convince me that I'm wrong.
Well, I'd have to see what the auction price was because he is not. There's nothing listed here. I mean, the 7 was.
He was a homebred.
Yeah, and the 7 was paid $775,000 for it.
Yeah.
My feeling on the 4 is it's about race flow, and I think Kyle was onto something. I think Loscano was very aggressive, and I think this race is begging for a jockey to be aggressive. And I think that this horse is going to be, if not on the lead, right around, very close to the lead, despite what those running lines look like. I think, again, this says the classic makings of Loscano, just being aggressive. He only rode the horse once, and it's by far the closest the horse has been to the pace this year.
Oh.
So
yeah, but he's not really an early speed type. I mean, you go back to that number 2 back, it was
3rd out of 10. He was 3rd out of 10, 2 back, and I think that's what you're going to be looking at here, something like that.
All right. So my last question is for Pete. Pete, how do you decipher between the 4 and the 7 in terms of they're both? I mean, the 7 was a big price, was a big purchase price, but they're basically horses that you would think have potential, and they're both taking big drops. So how, as for the handicappers at home and listening at home, how do you decipher between which one is more live than the other?
I mean, I think it's hard because I think it's hard to when you get into the game of trying to figure out owner trainer mindset and purpose, then it's a guessing game. So you can guess and you can think, well, I mean, the 7 does look worse to me just because it's such a huge drop. They paid so much. It's not like it made that money back up. It's way off from that. So that one looks a little more suspicious. This one just looks like, hey, you don't know sometimes. Sometimes you just want to say, you know what, we're just going to get this one out. We're going to make a little bit of money off of it, and we're going to be happy with it. Again, not that it's a bad horse. It can't be that bad. It ran, 2 back. It ran a nice winning race and an allowance 92 with an 85 buyer. Yeah. So it's not like it's coming out of multiple poor performances in a row. So
Ralph Conte, thanks for joining the show. I know you've been typing a lot of things in. I mean, yeah, the buyer's absolutely fit. Kyle, last question, and then we're going to go to our pick 5s. I want the 4. Were any of you guys, Kyle, I'll address it to you, but I'll address it to Pete and Paul if you guys want to chime in. Anyone worry about the quick turnaround coming back in 2 weeks? Now, the Saratoga meet is over soon, so this sort of feels like Abreu just want to get one more race into him, like they're squeezing a race in at Saratoga. I don't, Kyle, I'm telling you, this 4, I had a lot of bad vibes on the 4, more than the 7 for me. I mean, and I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I don't disagree with that by any means. I mean, it's always that type of thing, especially when you have fully Saratoga guys such as like Saratoga that just love racing horses at Saratoga. They just want to get more and as many races as possible. And with the meet ending soon, it could be that. It's what you guys mentioned it, right? It's the same thing on the 4 and the 7. It just looks it looks so suspicious on these types of drops like this. With the 7 winning a 123,000 allowance on the Churchill turf, and the 4 winning a 92,000 on the Belmont turf. I mean, it's just that same type of thing. Like I said, it's just use these horses at your own risk. Obviously, There's no saying they can't win, like Howard said, but I think these angles are something you definitely have to keep in mind when looking at these horses.
Pete, do you have a quick turnaround stat on Abreu, or Paul? Either one of you have?
Yeah, I just
Paul?
did it. Abreu, 7 to 14 days, 0 for 13.
Ooh. Pete, how now you're our stat guy, Pete, for the show. 13 is not a big number, but 0 for 13 is pretty bad.
0 for 30. I mean, if it's 0 for always, 0 for. I mean, but then you win one, and now they're whatever that is. You're the math guy. They win this 14. One, and then you're 1 for 14, which is what
that's a little better than 5%.
A little better than So now it doesn't look as terrible. I mean, I've lost many times with an 0 for something stat, and the horse comes through. But I mean, this is also a race. Don't forget, we're not looking at this saying either one of these horses, even if we're picking them to win, we're not saying they're stone cold locks that you should be singling. It's a garbage race with a lot of garbage horses that have a lot of questionable performances. I think it's a bit of a spread to me. Like when I went through it, I was like, I don't like anybody in this race.
Well, there you go. There's your. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Temple Bailey. I don't know if Temple Bailey watches the show, but for those of you that are followed me on Twitter, Temple Bailey's on Twitter a lot. She follows me. Shout out to Temple, who actually, if you go on Twitter, Temple tweets out pictures of like after she watched. I know Temple watches the show, and then like you see the notebook that Temple has of all of our picks. It's pretty cool. But anyway, shout out to Temple out there. We got a pet sighting, Pete, in the background. Look out.
Yeah,
killer animal in the background.
I'm just hoping she doesn't poop or pee back there while we're all watching.
That'd be great.
That would be absolute. Oh wait, what is the dog doing? What in the world?
Ready. She's ready.
A good clip.
Pete Scott. Here's Pete's pick. Here's Pete's pick 5 with 1, 3, 4 with 1, 5, 6, 7, 9 with 4 with 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 $45 singling Nest and spreading the last race and singling the 5 and what's the name? Echo.
Yeah, what's the name? Echo something that I'm completely Echo again. Yes, Echo again. Yes. Yeah. No, so basically I was, as I mentioned, as you could see by my choices in that 5th leg, to me it was wide open. I want to have some double-digit prices on my ticket. Hopefully when I handicapped, I didn't have them. I was hoping I had some double-digit horses on there because I think it's wide open. I figure you go with Nest and just take the shot. She's the best in the field. And then the 5 in that first leg is just getting so much buzz. And I thought just looked really good statistically. So I'm going to take a shot single there. And if it craps out, then it becomes a pick 4.
Marco, hola, ¿qué tal? Just want to throw a shout out to Marco there. I like your single there. I actually like both your singles. You're going to need some prices, though, other than those two, I would have a feeling. But you obviously have a ticket there where you can get some prices, Pete. Or you can press up, I suppose. Paul, let's go to your ticket. Paul's got 1, 3, 4, 5 with 1, 3 with 5, 6, 8 with 4 with 4, 6, 7, 10. Paul, give us your thoughts on your ticket, sir.
Well, again, I'm obviously not thinking that Echo again is a stone cold lock because if I go 4 deep and a 6-5 wins, it defeats the purpose. But I think that's still a maiden special. I think there's a chance to get someone there. The Nest is my single. I almost went single with Wonder again and went 4 deep in that. We talked about the Smart and Fancy being a spread race. I almost went 4 deep there and used the 3rd Clement. I only used 2, so you can pretty much bet that the 3rd one will win.
The other we've seen the other win a few times this summer, haven't we?
Many times, but and I think again 4 deep in the last leg is hopefully enough, but maybe not. No one's going to be surprised if there's a $40 winner in the last leg. You just hope that you could be spread enough to have them.
By the way, we didn't talk about the 10 in the last race. I feel bad. Pete and Paul, real quick. You guys both had the 10, I think, in the mix, who was a closer, who was really wide last time. Did you want to mention it for the viewers? Anything about? Is it the 10 that you guys thought was interesting?
Yeah, he did. I think I'd have to look at the race, but I'm pretty sure that he came out of a race where there wasn't a lot of closing going on.
He was like 8 wide, Paul, in the stretch.
He was very wide in the stretch. Didn't take money. It's Brittany Russell. She's not going to take money. It is a Zilla horse. That's a partnership that I'm involved with a few horses. Although I don't really know anything about. They just claimed this horse 4 races ago. But
okay.
I just thought again race flow. I think it's more likely to be one on the front end. But I do think if it falls apart for any reason, this is the horse, and you get Pratt at a big number.
Pete, we shouldn't have given this horse short shrift. I think he's 15-1, and both you guys had him third, I think, or something. So
yeah, I mean,
else,
I like the race 4 back. It was a similar enough company claiming 30 non-winners at 2, and then it had a race back at Saratoga last year where it wasn't the greatest of buyers, but at least it ran here and it closed a bit and it ran a nice race. So I think at 15-1, if you're looking for a race that could fall apart, like Paul said, I think you need to take shots with some double-digit odds horses.
All right, now Kyle is a owner of a few horses. He's got some small piece of horses, and everyone out there needs to listen because Kyle's been on fire this week. He's got 2 winners with ownership. Let's see if Kyle can get some viewers and listeners at home with his pick 5. And again, we're going $50 or less. It's very hard, ladies and gentlemen, very hard to hit pick 5s with $200 tickets, let alone $50 or less. So we all understand that. We decided to go with a smaller amount to give a little lower budget players a chance to play a ticket if they want. Kyle's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 1, 3, 5 with 1, 6 with 4 with 4, 6, 7, $45. Kyle, how much of the board is going to affect what you would do in the first race? By the way,
that's kind of the thing I wanted to touch on. Is it like Pete said earlier? It's kind of with the board and with the 2-year-old race and the first race. It always helps because you'll always get to see the board before you make your pick 5. So I would, again, looking at the board in these races is completely imperative. Like I said, if the 5 takes all this buzz and it's going to be 6-5, and like Paul said, if you go 5 deep in the first and then this even money shot comes in, that just completely defeats the purpose and takes out a lot of the money that you're going to play, especially in a $50 or lower ticket. So it's going to definitely, if the 5 gets bet down like that, I'm going to definitely have to shorten up. And I'm going to probably take out either the Bill Mott trainee. Bat Flip, like I said, had a horrible race in his first one, so I definitely might be leaving him in, but it's going to definitely affect it for sure. And then as I go through with Moonlight, like I said, as he sits that good trip, he's definitely dangerous. The only one I don't have there is Consumer Spending, who can obviously win. Personally, I just think he has too much to do, but that can definitely happen as well. Going through, I actually went skinny in that turf sprint with Change of Control and Miss J. McKay. I just personally think they're the 2 class, but definitely other people can win. But I'm going skinny. Nest, Moto Obvious, and then the last race, I'm going to go with my top 3 picks. Personally, they just seem to be the only 3 that have done anything substantial on the grass. And going from that perspective, I'm looking to them to kind of ward off all the bombs in that last race, and hopefully we can catch a few mid-level prices, 5-1s or some, and build up pick 5 to at least about 8 times, 9 times the money.
Okay, I got it. Pete, glad the dog is okay. If you want to show any more comments, Pete, as we end the show from people, feel free. As I bring up here's my pick 5, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I'm playing an ABC. We all know that. Everyone here on the show does. If the Echo horse is taking a lot of money, I really would single this horse because, guys, there's a lot of other horses in that race that I think want to go longer. And I think this horse has been working like a train. So I'm going very deep in the second and third legs. Obviously, the Lake Placid, I think, is pretty wide open. I would use with the Moonlight. I'm against her in general, with the Moonlight. And then I have to spread in the turf sprint, although, Kyle, I completely agree with you. In fact, I almost went 1-6 in this race and spread in the last race. I couldn't decide which one to do. I decided to spread in the third leg, but I could easily have just gone 1-6. I totally agree with you. And guys, I've got Gerrymander. Now listen, again, Gerrymander is not going to be used equally on my ABC, but held my feet to the fire with a caveman. I think Gerrymander is up and coming. And the fact that she's bred to go long really has me interested, guys. Like, really interested. The fact she's a half the lone rock to me really moves her up. I don't know if it's going to work out. And then I got 6, 7. I hear what Paul you're saying about the 4. I don't know. I would just take my chances with 6, 7. 6, like Kyle said, should use his speed. 7's probably the best closer. And just cross my fingers. There's my $50 ticket. Guys, as we wrap up the show here, as we coming on our 90-minute mark, Pete and Paul, I'll let you guys. Jim, thanks a lot for watching the show. Any thoughts about the pick 6 tomorrow? Anything else going on, Pete and Paul? Any Travers thoughts for next week? Just anything in general. Got the Queen's Plate Sunday at Woodbine. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I would just, Howard, quickly, if we could look back for a bit, and I tweeted this during the week. If you watched last Saturday, there were two really nice stories at Saratoga. Michelle Lovell winning the Saratoga Special, bringing Damon's Mound up from Kentucky/Virginia. But the Robbie Davis, Jackie Davis, East Avenue story with Vallelujah, that 7-horse, only at Saratoga. For those who don't know, the East Avenue Racing Syndicate was formed by people during the pandemic when you could not get into the track. Forget about getting in for racing. These are people, Howard, who were on East Avenue, which you're familiar with, Howard. The runs alongside the far turn of the Oklahoma. They would watch morning workouts through the fence because they couldn't get in. That's how much they love it. They got together, they started talking, they became friendly, they formed a syndicate, and they win a race at Saratoga last Saturday, the East Avenue Racing Syndicate. And if you saw Robbie Davis, who doesn't win races, doesn't have many horses, and his daughter Jackie was up on the horse. As I said, if it happens at Belmont, it's a nice story. If it happens at Saratoga, it's just epic. And it was one of those many reminders of why it is such a special place.
Well, it really is. The stories are just incredible, and I want to say, I'm almost tearing up, guys. I'm so honored and blessed as people see the schedule for next week. I want to tell everyone about Paul Halloran. Paul, I asked him to send me some articles that he wrote for me. The guy sends me three, not just one, 3 actual Saratoga Special hard copies. Paul, thanks a lot, man. I look forward on framing that. I really appreciate it. Pete, you've been awesome with a lot of things, with the blog, with the website. You guys are just, have added to the show so much. Kyle, you have come a long way, like I've said, as a host. Not with your handicapping knowledge. I knew you could handicap because I wouldn't have you on the show otherwise. But just the way you present yourself on the show as a young guy, sort of learning the business from the YouTube side. Guys, I just want to thank you guys so much. I probably don't say it enough publicly for what you guys have added to the show. We continually have more and more subscribers coming on. I don't know if you guys know, by the way, but we're approaching the 150,000 view mark in only about a year and a half of the show. And, I can't be more proud of what we present to you guys. Next week is a big week, gentlemen. I am really excited. Kyle, I'm excited about our live show, and everyone should be watching. It's going to be on YouTube, of course, so we should watch. Really excited about next week. But I wish everyone good luck. First of all, on tomorrow's Pick 6, which I'm not going to be playing, but if you're playing it, good luck. And very much luck on Alabama Stakes Day card Saturday in the Late Pick 5 at Saratoga. And if you're playing Woodbine Sunday with the Queen's Plate, good luck also. This has been Howard Kravets, episode 169 of the HHH Racing Podcast. For Pete Visco, Paul Halloran, and Kyle, thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, everyone. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye-bye.